All right. Well, thanks for joining. We're here to talk about Acklen Avenue. Like I said, we record these meetings so that we can post them on NDOT's website after the fact. So if anyone missed the meeting, they'll be able to catch up with the same information. I'm Amy Burt. I'm a traffic engineer and consultant that works with NDOT on this traffic calming program. So we're excited to come back to Acklen Avenue and show you what we've come up with for a plan. Also on the call, I have Dylan from Kimley Horn, also a consultant, who's going to help me make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat as we go along. You can feel free to put questions in the chat. You can unmute yourself and ask questions as we go. Like I said, we're going to go over some, just a little bit of background information. I'm going to try to go through it quickly so we can spend most of our time talking, showing you the plan for Acklen Avenue that we've proposed and want your feedback on, and then move forward into the next phase of it. So let's get started. What is traffic calming? We in this program, we call it the Neighborhood Street Traffic Calming Program, and we focus on residential streets like Acklen Avenue, and it's physical solutions that encourage lower speeds over the length of the street. And so our primary target is speed reduction, and we believe that we know that improves safety. The 3 E's of traffic calming being education, enforcement, and engineering. This program focuses on the engineering. How do we modify the street or intersection to slow vehicles' speeds? And then safety and vision zero. There's a strong correlation between driver's speed and a pedestrian's chance of survival. So at lower speeds, at 25 miles per hour, a pedestrian that is struck by a vehicle has an 89% chance of survival, but at 35 miles per hour, that chance of survival goes down to 68%. And then at 45 miles per hour, that goes down to 35%. And not only is the severability of a crash higher, severability is higher at higher speeds, but at lower speeds, a crash can be almost avoided altogether because a driver has a longer time to react to something that may enter the roadway, or they see in the roadway pedestrian crossing the street or something. So they have an ability to slow down and react, and a longer time to do that at slower speeds. And then also the cone of vision. As you drive at slower speeds, you have a wider cone of vision, so you can see more of outside of the roadway and avoid those collisions. Let's see. Our program is, NDOT's program is extremely popular. We have a high demand throughout the county. This map is showing lines on streets that have applied for the program or where they are in the program, specifically either in the design and meeting phase, or waiting for construction, or in the ballot phase, or being completed. As of our last application period in March, we had 480 neighborhood streets that have requested traffic calming. And then of those, we were able to select 25 neighborhood streets. We always like to point people in the direction of the hub in the event that there are other issues that you may have on your street, such as clogged storm drains, or a sign being knocked down. Lots of maintenance type things, where trash didn't get picked up. That's a great resource. It gets the request to the right department within Metro government, and it's easy to access through calling 311 or going to the hub.Nashville.gov, or there's an app you can download on your smartphone, and that request gets to the right department. You get a service request number, something you can follow up on. So it's just a great resource and tool. So here is a map of our project limits for Acklen Avenue. So we're talking about Acklen between 12th and Wedgwood. And this is a snapshot from our online tracker tool that tracks all of our traffic calming projects on NDOT's website. And so there's just various categories of where a project may be in the program. Those pink lines are streets that have applied for traffic calming but have not been selected yet. Then there's Douglas, which is down sort of at the lower part of the screen, which is kind of a light blue. That is in the construction queue. It's been through the design process and there's been voting already on that street, so it's just waiting for installation. So Acklen, I've highlighted it yellow, but its line on the map is green because we're in this meeting and design phase. So I'm going to talk about the traffic calming measures that we've recommended for Acklen Avenue, and then we're going to look at the plan specifically. And so I do want to back up a little bit and just say that we met originally several months back and presented a plan that pretty much solely included speed cushions. And so you're probably familiar with these now. NDOT has been installing them on several streets that have gone through this process. They're very popular, they're very effective. But during that last meeting, we heard some feedback specifically from this neighborhood about, some concerns at intersections specifically. So we've addressed that, but we still have in our plan some sets of speed cushions as well, but we've reduced that number. But these are rubberized devices. We can fit them in the roadway, depending on the width of the roadway, the characteristics of the street, whether they're striping or not. We can arrange them in numerous different configurations. They're at their highest height, 3 inches high. We typically install them at 10.5 feet long. And so depending on, if there's a bike lane on the street or something like that, we might use some flexible delineation, those white posts that you see in that bottom right picture, to keep drivers from driving around them and protect that bike lane. We paired them with signage, like you see in the top left corner, the warning signage that has an advisory speed of 20 miles per hour, so that they're visible in advance as you approach them. They also have pavement markings on them that are reflective at night, so also providing that visibility. And we use speed cushions most often because they better accommodate emergency vehicles. They are wide enough that passenger vehicles can't straddle them. They can drive one wheel on and one wheel off, but you're still affected as a driver to slow down even if you do that. But the width of them and the spacing of the speed cushions allows emergency vehicles that have a slightly wider wheelbase to straddle them and be less affected by having to slow down at each location. These have been really effective in Nashville. NDOT's done a before and after study and found that the average speed before the cushions were installed on these 6 streets that were studied, the average speed was 31 miles per hour before, and then the average speed went down to 22 miles per hour after the speed cushions were installed. And these measurements are happening between sets, not right at the device. Even right at the device, it's slower. Then the 85th percentile speed, that's the graph on the right. I want to explain 85th percentile speed first. That is the speed that 85% of the traffic that was measured throughout that day is going that speed or below. And then that also means that 15% of the traffic is going above that speed. So before the speed cushions were installed, the 85th percentile speed was 37 miles per hour on the average on these streets. And then after we went down to 25 miles per hour, which is really our target speed on residential streets. That's the posted speed limit in Nashville now. So you can see they're very effective. And that's one of the main reasons why we use them so much. And they're easy to implement and so forth. We also and I'll show it on the plan, but we're recommending one radar feedback sign on Acklen in the downward hill area as you're coming from 12th. And these are signs that essentially tell drivers how fast they're going as they're approaching the sign.
How does the effectiveness of the signs compare to the speed cushions?
Yeah, great question. They are effective. The studies that we've seen are that the average speed reduction has been 6 miles per hour, and then the 85th percentile speeds about 7 miles per hour. These are used more often on higher volume, higher classification streets, where we cannot use the speed cushions because of the volume or the speed limit. But we do use them sometimes on residential streets where we may have a situation where we can't install cushions because of the grade, or driveways are too dense or something like that. They are effective. We are seeing that they have some long-term effects as well, but and one thing that they do is they're collecting data so we can continue to measure that.
And just to be clear, they're collecting data about speeds, not collecting data about cars or license plates or anything like that,
Absolutely.
right?
Correct. They are not collecting any identification information, no license plates or anything, just counts of vehicles and speed.
Thank you.
Then bulb outs. These are some examples of how bulb outs are done. It's really striping with paint and delineation with those white flexible posts, but what it does is tightens an intersection and provides narrowing so that drivers feel more constrained. It also protects the zone where we don't want parking to happen so that you can have better visibility at the intersection. It shrinks the crossing distance for pedestrians, and so this is more of an intersection treatment, and so we have this in the plan at 10th and Acklen, and we'll get to that. But this is done with striping and some flexible delineator posts. And traffic circles. Like I said, we heard concerns about the intersections, and so traffic circles, we're proposing a treatment like this at Elliott and Acklen. And so it's the way they're formed is as shown in this picture. It's these rubberized curbs that have some yellow reflective markings around them, and then it's filled with asphalt. And so they're easier to implement, and what they are is essentially like mini roundabouts. You travel around them, similar to a roundabout. And the central island, what it does is it creates some horizontal deflection through the intersection so that drivers are slowing down as they negotiate through the intersection. All right, I'm going to zoom into this, so I'm just going to first go over this first sheet, but now we want to talk about the plan that we've proposed. So this is the cover sheet that kind of shows the zone and the project limits and symbology of what we're talking about. So I'm going to zoom into this middle section so you can see that better. And then we'll drill into each page as well. So first of all, just to set our limits, we're talking about, again, Acklen between 12th and Wedgwood. And so along this section, we're proposing 3 sets of speed cushions. That's the yellow trapezoid symbol there. And then as you're coming down and you're going east on Acklen from 12th towards 10th, a radar feedback sign going down the hill. What happens in that hill is the grade is too steep. We cannot put any vertical measures on that section, but we want to make sure that we're capturing the people as they're entering Acklen and driving too fast down that hill, you know, to mitigate that before they reach a high speed, to let them know they're either speeding or what their speed is as they approach the street and enter the street. And then at 10th and Acklen, we have a bulb out configuration with the painted bulb out and delineator post. And then it says a B, like a bulb out, but it's a traffic circle, essentially at Elliott and Acklen. So I'm going to first start with the speed cushion sheets, and then we're going to look more closely at the intersection sheets. And then and again, if you have any questions, you want to just ask those in the chat or unmute and ask, we can discuss. But here we go. Again, 12th is on the left side of your screen, so north is up. And so as you're going east, we have that radar feedback sign before you get to 11th, that intersection. And then from there, we have a set of 3 wide speed cushions that would be between 11th and 10th. And really, these call outs here will say kind of exactly where that is. And we measure those from the center of the cushion to the point that's stated on there. So it says 29 feet west of the driveway at 10:05 Acklen. So you can kind of see where that falls between 10:05 and 10:07, I believe. And again, these are paired with the speed cushion warning signs. And then on the other side of 10th, we have another set of cushions that is, it says about 53 feet west of the driveway at 922 Acklen. And so when we're placing these speed cushions, we are looking very closely at where those driveways are. We do not want to put them right behind a driveway so that you're having to drive sideways over them as you're turning in and out of a driveway. So we're trying to maintain at least 15 feet away from the cushion and the driveway. So just want to make sure that's understood. And so that last cushion, that was essentially between 10th and Elliott, but a little closer to 10th, I believe. And then we have a set of cushions between Elliott and Wedgwood. So as drivers are turning from Wedgwood, entering Acklen, and before they even get to Elliott, they experience a set of cushions. And the width there is wider, so this is a set of 4 wide, so 2 in each direction, like you see in that picture there at the top right hand corner. So that one is 46 feet east of the driveway at 837 Acklen, and again has the signage associated with it. And this is just showing how these lay out of the road with the width of the street. Configuration A are the first 2, the middle location and the location to the at the west end of the site. I mean of the street, with one on the center line and then one on either side in the lane. And so they're spaced about 4 feet apart. And you can park on these. So now let's look at these intersection treatments and what we're recommending here. So what we heard at our first meeting again was that there was concern about, you know, the safety of this intersection. It's strange, it's odd, because it's a dogleg intersection. So there is, you know, traffic that's, you know, trying to make that that movement along on 10th and staying on 10th in both directions. So what we're recommending here is creating a kind of a median with paint and delineation in the center between those 2 dog legs. And so that creates more of it. It really eliminates that ability to kind of shoot across essentially. The bulb outs on the outside are narrowing the travel lane so that the traffic on Acklen Avenue is slowing down and feels constrained there as they're driving in the lane and staying in the lane. We did look at, larger vehicle turning movements to make sure that those could still be accommodated as we laid out this plan. The other thing about the bulb outs is that oftentimes, we know parking is a premium, certainly, and we wanted to make sure not to impact it too much. And a lot of times, even where the signs are posted, no parking to corner, we do see parking happening there. And what that does is it limits visibility for drivers on 10th to be able to see if there's cars coming on 11th. So with this bulb out, we are able to protect that zone and keep that visibility area clear through there. So also, you can see on the center line how the center line and the striping kind of guides you around the median so that we're creating a little bit of horizontal deflection through the intersection. And I have a question here I'm going to read. Do we feel this is a suitable replacement for stop signs? This program does not install stop signs as part of the traffic calming. And I do believe it's been studied whether stop signs are appropriate. It's kind of a weird intersection to put stop signs at anyway because of the dog leg, but we think this is a good solution and improves safety, slows vehicles down as they travel through the intersection.
Where are stop signs in that diagram we're looking at right now?
The traffic stops on 10th on both sides.
And not on Acklen at all?
Right, correct. So there's not a stop line on this section, but we could certainly add one. Or NDOT could add one, but yes, they stop on the northbound approach of 10th and the southbound approach of 10th.
And you said, I'm sorry, before you said where they stop, you said a stop line. Where would you put that? Or where you said something about a stop line or
a stop sign, maybe?
I thought you said something about a line.
A line. I said a line of sight, maybe?
Yeah.
Yes. So are you able to see my annotation here? So like if you're a vehicle and you're kind of stopped in this area,
Right.
and you're trying to see if cars are coming, and if there's parked cars, like you actually is parked here in this picture, this aerial, that kind of blocks the visibility of a driver can see what they can see.
I got you. And so that red, I see the car diagram, and then there's a red line in front of the car.
Mm-hmm.
What is that red line?
I was just drawing, we could put a stop line in right there.
That's what I was.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help visibility or?
That's already probably.
It's a little far back.
Right. Yeah, we could put it further up. We want to put it behind the crosswalk.
Gotcha.
Or the essential crossing path of pedestrians.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What about the line of sight from the other direction coming north, I guess that would be north maybe on 10th. That right there where you're.
Mm-hmm.
The line of sight there is definitely always more difficult there because here, if you're turning left, how it curves right there to the east side of this photo, or the right side of this photo as we look at it, it's pretty difficult for line of sight to see cars going, towards 12th on Acklen.
Mm-hmm. So what happens in these urban areas is that drivers should stop at the stop line. And then, recognizing we've got crosswalks, which dictates how close the stop line can be to the travel lane. You know, they'll need to first stop at the stop lines, how it should operate. Make sure they're not, you know, yield to any pedestrians there, and then, you know, inch out to be able to see. But if cars are parked there, that further limits the ability, even if they're able to pull up some and then, you know, look.
Excuse me, my house is on the corner there at 1001, and currently there is a no parking sign just to the, I believe, the right of my walkway as you go to the front of the house. Will this bulb out further limit parking in that area?
Can you, which, we tried to put the bulb out to where the, existing signage is,
Okay.
to not, but in our, you know, investigations, we see that people park sometimes even beyond the sign. So what this does is to help reinforce the signage.
Okay. I just
And you
didn't
can
know if your
see,
bulb out would further limit that parking on the front end of my house.
which you said 11,
1001, I'm the house right on the corner,
which corner?
the corner of 10th and Acklen.
Mm-hmm. So, this, let me get my pen again. So this car here,
No, I'm go diagonally back to your
this one here.
left. Right.
Mhm.
That's my place.
Right. So we, are looking at, you know, where that sign is. I'm pretty sure this is the signpost that
Okay,
says
that could be, yeah.
no parking to, you know, to corner. And so we're trying to reinforce that there. And I think this, if you can see this shadow, I believe that is the signpost on the other corner that says no parking to corner. And as you can see, we just in this snapshot aerial view that was parked there. Someone was parked there. So trying to reinforce that. Then we've also cut out, you know, areas where parking or driveways can still occur.
All right. Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. We can come back to this, but I'll move on to the next. Oh, there's another question. Let me address this real quick. Can you explain a little more about what a bulb out looks like? Does it include the partitions up off the road? I'm not sure what you mean by partitions, but it does include the flexible delineators. I'm just zooming back to show kind of what those those posts look like. Similar to what's on 10th that protects the bike lane. Some of this treatment, because we know that, you know, the paint is a good guide, but the delineator helps reinforce that. All right, moving to the Elliott intersection. So here, like I mentioned earlier, we are recommending a traffic circle. It's operates much like a roundabout, really, and this intersection is so large that it allows for this type of treatment. Many intersections on streets that we work in do not, but we found that this was substantially large. We were able to lay it out and design it such that it still accommodates you know, emergency vehicles. And again, it would be created with rubber curbing around that's drilled into the to the pavement and then filled with asphalt on top, like that picture I showed earlier. There'd be a fair amount of striping that goes on in this area to delineate the direction of travel and create these sort of splitter islands so that drivers are approaching the circular intersection appropriately. Like a roundabout, we have yield lines to be installed at the approaches. So, you navigate this like a roundabout yield signage. We're also showing some additional crosswalks. One of the things about the way this lays out is that these kind of islands create ability to sort of have like a pedestrian refuge as you're crossing this long distance between. We're also identifying some striping along the edge to narrow the approaches to, 11-foot lanes. So we're able to just use all of this excess pavement to create a circular intersection and still creating and protecting parking there. And then this crosswalk is existing back here. So we would, maintain that crosswalk.
One general question. Do you anticipate traffic counts to go down with the traffic calming? Because I've noticed that thoroughfare tends to just generate cars that might want to take a shortcut or avoid going down Wedgewood to 12th. So do you anticipate lower traffic counts after the calming?
We don't, we don't have a lot of good information about that because every situation is different depending on how the street network surrounding. Is there an alternative route or not that people might take? There could be some reduction of traffic, but again, that's not our goal with this program and our treatments. We're really trying to slow traffic so that it's just safer for all users of the street, bikes, pedestrians, and other drivers. So I can't really speak or give you any definitive opinion on whether or not there could be some diversion of traffic or reduction of traffic. Any questions about the traffic circle? So besides the speed sign on the higher slope of Acklen, we have this question: do we have any other plans to decrease speed, such as lane narrowing with paint lines? So you're talking about the west side of the street. We don't have that in there currently. We just have the radar feedback sign. There is, and of course, there is a set of cushions between 11th and 10th on that section. So as you're coming down the hill, you're approaching that. So having to slow down in advance of that set of cushions. And when we install cushions, we do try to put them in a series or space them. And so we've spaced these and including these intersection treatments at about 400 or 500 foot spacing.
Amy, it's Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there? Hey,
Yeah.
I was just curious, like these plans are awesome. I love, all the detail. Are we able to get an email of these, or is there going to be any type of printout we can sort of just look at, or?
Yes, let me, we might jump into the next steps, but what we're going to do is, provided, we're hearing at this meeting feedback that we like this and we want to move forward, we will be posting them to the website, NDOT's website, and you'd have a link to view those as we get into the balloting phase. And so, and I'd be happy to email them to you as well. No problem.
Hey, I've got an additional question. When you gave initially, you gave kind of like the like 85th percentile speed counts for the stretch. Did you notice any significant difference between what was going on between like 12th and 10th and Acklen or the part closer to Wedgewood, or was it fairly?
No, we don't have a comparison between one side of the street and the other. No. I may not have put this on the screen, but the when we did measure this, this was part of the process of when Acklen was selected for the program. When we did measure the speeds, the 85th percentile speed was 35 miles per hour on Acklen. It's posted at 25, so we have a pretty fair amount of speeding, and our daily volume is about 3,500 vehicles per day. That's the combination of both directions of travel. So that's some of the data that went into the process of getting this street selected for traffic calming.
Thanks.
So we're a little bit off on this typical program flow chart because we came back and wanted to spend some time figuring out how to address these two intersections that we heard from the neighborhood at our first meeting, that you know, those were places of concern, and wanted to see some treatments there. And again, we haven't, NDOT has not done a traffic circle like this in this program. It's been in our toolbox, but the construction, the way we're showing it on these plans, we haven't done that yet. So NDOT is kind of considering this a pilot type of installation to see how it goes with that type of installation, with the rubberized curbing and asphalt filled circular island.
Yeah,
And
I want to say I've been to a number of these meetings like this, and this one seems like it's more has some more specific things to it than just kind of putting down the speed cushions. So I appreciate that attention to detail and, you know, consideration of other alternatives.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we heard that feedback that the intersections were kind of a point of concern, and wanted to try to address that, and just the characteristics of this street allowed for it. That wide, we all know why that Elliott and Acklen, that intersection is like that, because of the old trolley car routes, and so it afforded that ability to create that type of design. So we're excited about it, and hope that the neighborhood likes it and wants to move forward with it. So here we are at our second neighborhood meeting, and so our next steps would be leaving this meeting. We would want to have an understanding from you all that are here and reviewing the plans with us that you would want to move forward with this plan. And if that's the case, we would be sending out our online ballot postcards. I've got more details on that, but essentially NDOT wants to, with this program, wants to make sure that people are aware of the project and are mostly in favor of the project. So if 66% of those that vote vote in favor of the project, we'll move it forward into the construction phase. So that's where we are. We've got these kind of fully done plans, and we're ready to move into that ballot if the neighborhood is. And so that's a 2-month process. The ballot's open for 6 weeks, and then we would order the materials, and then the construction period of time. Right now we're in about an 8 to 10 month construction window. We had some backlog back 6 months to a year ago, but NDOT's been catching up with that, so we're getting back on track with that construction timing. So let me talk more about the ballot. What happens here is that we have an online ballot. We'll post the plans, like I said, to NDOT's website, and then we will send these postcards out, similar to the meeting postcards you received about this meeting. And so each postcard is associated with a unique ID code that will be printed at the bottom of the code of the postcard. Then the voting is open for 6 weeks. We put the closing date of the voting on the mailer at the top right hand corner. So when you get that postcard in the mail, you know when it closes, so you can come back and check on our website to see what the results were. And but don't wait to vote, go ahead and do it, because don't want that postcard getting lost. But you have an opportunity to vote yes or no for the project. And if 66% of the respondents vote yes, then the project moves forward into our construction queue and construction schedule. So it takes you to an online form, and you'll just fill out information about your name and address, and you have to enter that unique ID code. And this QR code at the top hand of that postcard takes you to the ballot. There's also the ballot address is also printed on the card in that blue box. So if the QR code is not working for whatever reason, maybe it got smudged in the mail or something, you can type in that address as well, and it'll take you there. At the top of the voting online form to vote, there's also a link to all the plans that we've posted, and that's where the Acklen plan will be. But you can also navigate that just through NDOT's website. You can find all the plans there as well. On this postcard, there's also a phone number to reach NDOT if, for whatever reason, someone is unable to vote online. They can get some assistance there. And once the ballot closes after the 6-week window, we post the results on the website as well. So you can go find that there. And we don't post individual votes or anything like that, just the results, whether it was 70% in favor, 80% in favor, and whether it passed or not. So that's where that goes. And then the ballot zone, because you probably want to know who's eligible to vote. It's these properties that are highlighted in yellow. Just ignore that red line that's kind of going through there. That's just how we select the properties on the tool that we use to do this. But it's residential properties, churches, and schools, and you get one vote. So you may have multiple people in one household. It's one vote per property. And it's only those properties that abut the affected right-of-way. And owners with multiple properties still just get one vote. And we don't include the vacant properties. Those are not eligible, and businesses are not eligible for voting. And we don't have really any businesses on this street anyway. Are there any questions about the voting or the ballots or the plans or anything? All right, I've put on here my contact information, my email, and NDOT's traffic calming email address. And then I'm going to go to the next slide that has our website. It's TrafficCalming.Nashville.gov, and this QR code would take you there. That's where NDOT houses all the things about the traffic calming program. We have our manuals on there about how this program works. We also have the results of ballots. We have all the plans that we've prepared for all the streets in the program. So if they're categorized, whether they're in the voting phase or if the voting has closed. Like I said previously, we have a online tracker map. It's a GIS tool that you can navigate through and click on a street and find out what the status of that street's traffic calming project is. Just a whole host of information. All of the there's a link to the YouTube page, which has all of these meetings that are recorded and then posted on the website. That's where you can find that information. So if any of your neighbors missed this meeting and they want to find out this information, they can find this meeting there afterwards. Then we have all of NDOT's social channels to access. So I appreciate everyone attending, and if you have any questions, we can hang on for a minute, but I guess I want to get a feel for if we're ready to move forward to the ballot with this plan. Is that
Thanks, Amy. It looks awesome.
great?
Appreciate all the hard work. I mean, it looks good to me, so I don't know. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to slowing that traffic down on that road, help with the noise and everything.
Wonderful. Well, I think then that's what we'll do. Does that sound good to you, council member? You may have stepped away. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I just wanted to if this can actually start me one way.
You're kind of breaking up. I'm not sure if we can hear you exactly.
It's approved by the when will construction start?
I apologize. I can't really make it out. But feel free to send me an email.
Okay.
Amy Birch at birchtransportation.com. If there's something if you have a specific question, or you can put it in the chat box if you're able to do that. All right, well then, what we'll do is we'll get these plans posted to the website next week and get our ballot postcards sent out. So let your neighbors know that they're on their way. So they should probably reach mailboxes by end of next week or first of the next. And then we'll hope to see what happens with the ballot vote. I'll just say that probably we've balloted well over 100 streets, maybe 150 streets at this point, and probably 90% of them pass. But there are some that don't, and when they don't pass, we still do some lower less intrusive measures like more radar feedback signs and striping. If the vertical measures are not something that the neighborhood says that they want. So it doesn't mean that there's no project at all. Just want you to know that too. Well, thank you so much for attending.
Jamie.
Thank you. Have a good one.